defining solution. Okay, please just give me a moment to share my screen as to welcome the next trainer. Please enable me to share my screen, Boma. Please enable me to share my screen, Boma. All right, thank you. All right, so the next person that will be handling this last session is no other person than Ayola Dikola. He is a highly skilled and innovative software and application developer with over a decade of expertise in .NET technologies, currently serving as an IT system specialist as A4S Online, a leading audit, assurance, and assessment company. Ayola is known for his exceptional creativity and outstanding problem-solving skills. His extensive knowledge and ability to navigate complex challenges makes him an invaluable asset in optimizing business processes and enhancing operations. Proficient across the entire software development lifecycle, Ayola also has a strong background in setting up servers and networks for various enterprises, supported by his certification in Cisco Networking Technologies, CCNA. As a business analyst instructor, he's committed to excellence and continuous improvement, ensures a high quality learning experience for all participants. Please, with a clap of hands in the chat room, please let's welcome Ayola Dikola. Ayola, please, you can take it up from here.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here once again. I was a break. Thank you very much, Mercy, for that. Yeah, without wasting much of our time, I would like to bring up to speed on what we have for today. We have been talking about business analysis. We've spoken about who a business analyst are. We've spoken about what they do. We've talked about some of the solutions and what are the things that you really need to do. I'm very sure the past weeks have been very engaging, and I'm very sure it has been a time where you know that as a business analyst, it's just about you picking up a challenge. It's about taking the process. It's about looking at what that particular challenge is in a defined manner and way. So today, permit me to share my screen. So please let me confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Okay, thank you very much. So today, without wasting much of our time, we're going to be talking about defining the solution. Defining the solution as a business analyst. You need to learn how to define a particular solution. You need to learn how to define a particular solution. And before I'll move on, I would like to ask a question. I'd like to ask a question, and please in the chat section, just help me write what you understand by gap analysis. Let me just hear from 2 or 3 people. Maybe if you've had anything about gap analysis before. Yeah, let me see if um the people I'm interacting with today understand what a gap analysis really means. So please in the chat room, please let me indicate the meaning, or just I just like 2, 3 people to just tell me what they understand by gap analysis. So I'll be leaving the chat room for like 2, 3 or 30, let's just say 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute. So please, somebody help me out with that. The meaning of gap analysis. Thank you very much. So thank you. Big difference between the ideal and what is. Difference between the current state and the future of the business. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. Thank you very much, Abayomi Adelibigbe. Do somebody also want to help me out? It's a way to know where you are. And thank you very much. That's Olutayo. It's a way to know where you are and where you are supposed to be. And that person say, Uju said it considers where you currently stand, where you aspire to be, and investigate the factor causing the gap between the two. People are very brilliant here. It's the process that compares results and expected outcome. Wow, Oyi, thank you very much. Akim said, gap analysis is understanding the as is position and to be position. So Akim is trying to, I think Akim, let me say, Abayomi, who's that again? They are trying to give me the real, uh, uh, let me put it, the vocabulary meaning. Yes, we call it jargons of gap analysis. So that the as is and okay, Sylvia Chukwuma also said, what is versus to be? Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your response. So let's move on quickly. And so let's look at it. The introduction. Business analysis, or as a business analyst, we need to help each other to figure out the difference between, number one, where a business is now and where it needs to be in terms of how it works and its system. I'll repeat that again. As a business analyst, one of our major jobs is to what? Is to be able to help out understand, to be able to figure out the difference between where a business is now currently and where it needs to be in terms of how it works and its system. This process, I'll call it, this simple process is called gap analysis. So to do this, we need to carefully think about and understand what will happen when the changes they suggest are put in place. So when we find the problems area, are you getting me? We need to make sure that the solution we choose fits well with the overall plan and structure of the business. So there are 2 steps that will help us ensure that the changes we are going to make will effectively improve the business and align with its long-term strategy. before I continue, what I've been able to explain now means that as a business analyst, we need to understand the particular term as is of that particular problem or business. We need to understand the as is of that particular business, that is the current state, that is the as is, and to be, that is the future of that particular business. So now we said that is what gap analysis is used for. So to ensure that these changes are made and effectively to be able to effectively improve the business and align with its long-term strategy, I said we need
Excuse
two
me, Ayola.
aspects. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Ayola. Yes, please. Can you make your presentation in presentation
Full
mode?
screen.
Your screen
Okay.
in presentation
Okay.
mode.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, 1 second, please. Give me a second, please. Okay, can you see my screen the full screen now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I said that the two aspects regarding development of this option for change is number one, the analyzing the gap. That is, we need to understand or analyze the gap between the current and desired business system. Number two is to ensure the alignment of any proposed action with the business architecture. I call it ensuring alignment with business architecture. Okay, thank you. I'm trying to see so that I can be able to communicate with everyone here. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, we are good. So I said this chapter looks at two aspects regarding development of options for business change. So number one, analyzing the gap between the current, that is as is, and the desired business system to be. So ensuring the alignment of any proposed action with the business architecture. So now, let's try and understand the gap analysis. So I said gap analysis is about finding the difference between where the business is now, you can call it the current state, or as is, as, and where it wants to be, that is the future or desired future state, that is to be. Let's take note of that. So where the business is now, you can call it current state, or permit me to write it here, as is, and where it wants to be in the future. That is to be, then your desired future state, then I would write it outside there. That is to be. Don't mind my writing. So it can be used in different ways depending on what you are looking at. So business activity model is the first method we will use. So this gives an overview of the ideal future business system. So showing that activities are needed to meet the stakeholders' need or the agreed perspective of the business. We will talk about this business activity model, I think, in the next 2 slides. So another method we can use to view this is the level of gap analysis. So the first thing you need to know in the level of gap analysis is that you need to check the business process model. So you need to first compare the current and the future, the as-is or the to be. That is the future, ways the business process are done. So the other thing you need to do in level of gap analysis is that you need to check the competencies. So checking the skills an individual currently has versus what is needed for a particular role. I said in level of gap analysis, the first thing you need to check is the what? Is the business process model. That is, you check their process model, how it's being done, how it's being carried out. You check how it is currently, then you check for the future. Then the competencies, checking the skills as an individual. All the individuals in the organization, you check their skills, you check their current skills versus what is needed for the particular role of that particular organization. Another one is IT systems. So you need to look at the current IT system requirements, their capabilities, and comparing them to the features offered by ready-made software package. You look at all the software they are using and you now need to check, is the current IT system requirements, is it okay, is it up to date with whatever software package that they are using currently? These are the levels of gap analysis that needed to be done. So identifying the areas of concern. I need to raise that here. Okay, so let's identify the areas of concern in gaps analysis. So when using the business activity model, which is BAM, I explained that in the previous section. That is, it gives an overview of the ideal future business system, showing what activities are needed to meet the stakeholders' needs or the agreed perspective. So I said identifying the area of concern. For BAM, you need to look at each activity and sort them into 3 particular groups. Let me look or recap that. You need to do what? You need to look at each of the activities and sort them into what? Into 3 basic groups. Number 1, operating satisfactory. So these activities are working well and don't need any immediate changes. That is, this particular operations, this particular item, this particular model, this particular competencies, their IT system, and every other things you check are what? Are satisfactorily okay. So you don't need to do anything about them. Then the second way you need to sort them is check if there is need for some issues to be addressed. So with these activities, you will know if some problems that are needed to be fixed or need a quick actions. So number one, you check if the particular operation is what is satisfactory. Number two, you check if a particular operation needs to be addressed. That is, you need to check if there are problems or there are some actions that need to be quickly fixed. So is anybody saying anything? So another thing is that the third place where you are going to put your activity model is not in place. Don't forget, operating satisfactory. Number two, some issues to be addressed. Number three, not in place. That is, these activities are missing entirely and need urgent attention. I wrote it here as a note. I said, by categorizing these activities this way, you can be rest assured. Sorry, who's that, please? By categorizing activities this way, you can prioritize the work based on the original goals and scope of the business analysis. So once you know which area need attention, you can perform a more detailed gap analysis to focus on how the work is done. So let me recap again. Business activity model will take three things for you to be able to achieve it. For you to be able to achieve it, you need three basic things to achieve a BAM. That is categorizing the business as what? Operating satisfactorily. That is, some issues are to be addressed and probably not in place. And I said, by doing this and prioritizing the work based on the original goals and the scope, so you'll be able to focus your attention and you can perform a more detailed gap analysis to focus on how the work is done. So let's move a little further. Identifying, sorry, framework of gap analysis. Framework of gap analysis. When conducting a gap analysis, please note this. It is very important to look at the big picture. Don't forget that in gap analysis, we are talking about the current state and the future state of of that particular business. So not just focus on processes or the requirements. If you only look at these areas, the changes you propose might just miss important problems. So as a business analyst, use a holistic approach to avoid this. This means you can consider various aspects of organization, including structure. You know that initially I mentioned three basic levels of analysis that you need to do. Let me go back there. Yes, I mentioned the three basic levels of gap analysis that are needed to be done. The business process model, checking the competencies and the IT systems. Then and I said, looking at the gap analysis, it's good to follow these three levels of analysis, but it is also good to use holistic approach to avoid problems that might be left behind. So I was able to come up with 4 holistic approach that you can further use. That is number 1. You need to check the structure. That is how the organization is set up. Yes, that's also talking about the business process model. Check how the organization is set up. You need to check the culture, the values and behaviors that shapes the work environment. That is the competencies. You need to check the management styles, how managers lead and make decisions. That's also grouped into what? Into the competencies. Then you check the business process. This is the step taken to complete tasks and achieve goals. That's also under competencies. So then we'll not talk about the IT systems. So the technology and the system used to support that particular business. Let me recap again. Business analyst is very good to use an holistic approach to avoid issues that might come up because of some of the things you might not cover up in the 3 levels of gaps analysis that I mentioned earlier. So I said the holistic approach that is good, just to be able to cover up those 3 levels of gap analysis now, are now divided further into 4. Then IT system as the 5th one. You need to check the structure. You need to check the culture, the values and behavior that shape the work environment. You need to check the management styles, how managers lead and make the decisions. You need to check business processes, the steps taken to complete and achieve goals. Then we'll go to the IT systems, which is the technology and systems used to support the business. When you go back to this, you found out that the 5 holistic approach that I mentioned, they are grouped into these particular 3 levels of gap analysis. Let's move on. So now, we want to talk about the pulpit model. The pulpit model. This is a very useful tool for this approach. Like, it's a very, 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 very suitable holistic approach or better approach for business analysts to use for gap analysis. So it helps to ensure that all necessary elements are considered during the analysis, so you don't have to miss anything out. Don't forget, from 3 to 5. Now, gap analysis now has a very standard framework that can be used. That is what? The pulpit approach or pulpit model. So what does the pulpit model, what does it mean? The P stands for people. It stands for people. The O stands for organization. The P stands for process, and the I stands for information. The T stands for technology. So let's quickly look at the model in view. So here it is. We have the technology at the heart of the organization. We have the people, we have the organization, we have the process, and we have the information. So let's quickly talk about the processes. So starting with the processes in mind, don't forget the pits. So we're starting with the processes first. So by looking at the current processes, that is the ASIS and the desired future process to be, this is a good starting point because changes to processes usually affect other parts of the organization, the people, the organization, the information, and technology. That is, any change in any process will affect the other parts of the organization. So let's look at the impact of any process changes. So any changes in processes can lead to changes in job description, team structure, skill requirements, and IT systems. Let me repeat that again. If there's any changes in process, let's just say this. That is, in the model, process has the neck gripping capacity. That is, if anything happens to the process in the organization, then the other part of the organization will do what? Will be crippled. So if it is crippled, there's going to be need for people to start changing job description. There might be need to change team structures. There might be need for upgrading skills. Even IT systems, there might be need for requirements. There might be need for IT systems to be upgraded. So, for example, if two jobs roles are combined into one, it will impact the organization structure, job description, and possibly the IT systems. So let's look at the clear definition of processes. So it is important to clearly define the new processes. So using a standard modeling technique can help make this clear and unambiguous. So let's look at it. Let's develop a detailed definition for the procedure for individual tasks. So number one, we need to define IT requirements. We need to clarify new process documents. Sorry, we need to clarify new process documentation needed. Then we need to revise job role description. So we need to form the basis for training on the new processes. So these are the things that happens when a process is being altered. So when it's been altered, we have to start thinking of what are the new requirements that needed to be gathered. What are the things we need to clarify about the documentation of the needs? What are the rules of each job descriptions that need to be revised or revisited? Then we need to talk about the basis for the training on the new process. So let's look at the information and technology. The information and technology. Before I go on, by using the pulpit models, listen to this. Analysts can make sure they don't overlook any important factors when conducting a gap analysis. I'll repeat that again. I said, by using the pulpit models, analysts can make sure they don't overlook any important factors when conducting a gap analysis. So we've looked at the processes. So let's look at the information and technology, which is the heart of the organization. So business process improvements are often concerned with retrieval and distribution of information. So gaps associated with this area are often identified. So during gap analysis, the information required should be analyzed using technique such as document analysis and modeled using entity relationship model or class diagrams. So I'm very sure we will have been during the course of the training, we'll have really seen what entity relationship models means, especially when you are working with data. Yes, you're working with data. So, or class diagrams. So this helps to identify the information needed to perform the business processes. So identify where additional information is required and clarify the information requirements. Let us look at this further. The technology element of the pulpit model is often the core enabler of the business change. Don't forget that I mentioned that the IT is always what? The heart of the business. So typically, it will be important to think about the following areas. Number one, IT support. Number two, accessibility. I also say alignment with enterprise architecture. So let's look at the IT support. So if we look at the IT support, say the to be, that is, we look at the feature of the business processes require additional IT support. Now, let me give an example. Just imagine an organization that does more of business analytics or analysis in the past 2 years or 3 years, and they use Microsoft Excel to be able to achieve it, or they use SaaS, or they use any type of system to be able to analyze their data. So now, the future now, that let's talk about in the last maybe 5, 4, 7, 8 years. The to be now, which is the future that we find ourselves, is that we have artificial intelligence that does all that, AI. So you don't even have to stress yourself. So as a business analyst, the thing you need to look at is what are the current IT support that we have now, and what are the probable IT support that might come in the future. So with this, you are addressing the IT aspect of the what of the gap uh, analysis. So the analyst will need to consider the requirement that should be delivered by the technology. So this may meet the functional requirement, but may also lead to the definition of non-functional requirements. Let me just move up a little bit again to accessibility of the technology. Don't forget that I gave an example of what? Of AI. So when introducing a change to the IT system used to perform processes, it is important to ensure that the system are as accessible as possible. This means considering the user population for the system. Imagine when I mentioned AI now, we have a lot of solutions that are very, very free to use. A lot of AI applications that are very easy or free to use. Sorry, please, 1 second. Yeah, thank you for hanging up. So I said, we have some of them that are free to use, some of them they have the premium version. Let's give examples. We have ChatGPT. We have, I know all of us know ChatGPT. We have Gemini. We have Copilot, and all of them like that. Different depending on whatever you want to use it for. You ask which one is best for that particular organization to implement for that IT support system. So you need to also consider the number of people that are really using it, so that at the end of the day, you don't have to find yourself in a situation whereby there won't be any time whenever you have or develop any challenge, then you won't be able to find a solution to it. I remembered one organization, I won't mention their name, and they had issue with okay, what they do is that they sell um they partner with MTN, Glo, Airtel, and all these things. They sell or they offer people to be able to buy data, recharge card, wire scratch card, NEPA bill, and all these things. So they offer APIs and everything. So something just happened during the course of I think uh 3 weeks ago, though I don't have access to them, but I used to use their platform to help clients integrate some of these. I used to refer them to some of my clients that want to integrate payments and some other things to their platforms. So something that happened for a week, you can't deposit into their platform. You cannot uh, buy data. You cannot load recharge card. You cannot buy. I said a week. I think 2 weeks. I think they just resolved it this last Sunday. Even till now, they're still having problem with buying recharge card. And you know that MTN does not provide it directly to these people. What it does is that it has a third party, and there are lots of them. So why do I have to go to this particular story is this. Just imagine that the organization have already thought of, okay, what if during the course of usage of this particular issue and we are having a timeout, how do we quickly resolve? I'm telling you, they lost over 1 million customers within a month, sorry, within 2 weeks, where they could not fix up the platform, because what happened was that the something was just dormant. Nobody could do anything. So clients were going. So if it was you, what are you going to do? You will leave them and look for another person. So that's the feature of the IT support that you need to check. Then you need to check the accessibility. Okay, those are those softwares that we are using. How is their support accessible? Whenever there's a downtime, how do I quickly tell them that something is wrong? Or will I be able to tell over 10 million clients that I have and tell them, just imagine that there's a downtime in the bank. How many people does the bank want to tell that there's a downtime? What they have to do is that quickly look at the next available probably network or something that they can switch to. So that's your what? That is your to be as a what? As a business analyst. So you need to also consider the accessibility. So when you are considering the kind of information technology that is going to be used by the company, you check the support. Is that support always available? If it's not 24/7, run away. Yeah, are they always not only available 24/7, are they accessible? There are some of them that you cannot even have a live chat. Even now that we have AI, there's bots. A lot of organizations have started using bots that whenever a user or the user of the application comes on board, it has to start rolling out the pre configured or pre-programmed questions and answers that you pick from, pending the time that the next available agent will be able to attend to you. So you need to also check the accessibility. Another thing that you need to check is alignment with what the enterprise architecture. A major problem in many organizations is that the IT system are not well integrated with each other or with the overall infrastructure that exists for the delivery of the IT services. So this can lead to the problems such as limited automatic data transfer, which may result in rekeying of data, inconsistent data format and definitions, different systems holding different values, and different systems holding different values for some of the data. Then introducing new IT functionalities without considering how this impacts upon or needs to align with the existing system, IT system, and infrastructure may end up introducing additional problems rather than solving those that exist currently. I think you've been able to see why this gaps analysis is very, very needed in the kind of information and technology that you're going to be introducing for that particular organization or business. If you don't check the IT support very well, if you don't check the accessibility to the support, whenever there's a downtime, and I gave an example the other time, just imagine your business goes on a break for 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Do you expect me as your client to wait? Even with a bank, if I can't have access to my money within 24 hours, in something happened to Opay, PalmPay, and all these fintech recently, there was a rumor that the CBN has barred them from operation. Then everybody around started panicking. Hey, go and carry your money from Opio. They will take off your money. they will do all these things. You know that they don't have a physical location. They don't have all these things. Don't use money point again. No, if you use money point, you will not get your money again. And all these things. If those organizations are not taking into consideration all these issues with their technologies, do you think that they will still be in existence? Just imagine during that time, maybe their network just went off for like 3 hours. As a user, what will you do? But somebody said those VTU apps are scams. I also run VTU business. Don't worry, we'll talk about them. But that's Ogundele Wasiu. Thank you for that. We'll talk about that during the question and answer form. Just keep that. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Thank you. So, you need to check all those. So if you don't do the gaps analysis very well, I'm telling you, you just find out that you have more problems compounded than the others. Let's move on a little bit. So let's talk about the organization. Don't forget that I said we are using the best method, the best model to use for gap analysis is what? Is the POPITs. I said the people, the process, the people, the organization, the process, the information and technology. We've spoken about the processes, we've spoken about the information and the technology. So now we are moving to organization. You see, this is often the area that every gap analyst or every business analyst overlook during the gap analysis. So we always overlook this particular phase in gap analysis. However, it is extremely important that it can be where gaps exist that have the potential to undermine the new business system and process. So one of the reasons why a holistic view is so important during the investigation of the current system is that it causes us to consider organizational aspects such as number one, structure, and number two, culture. McKinsey's 7S model can be useful here during a framework for thinking about the McKinsey's 7S model can be useful here, providing a framework for thinking about the different elements that contribute to the organization view. In organization, when you are checking, when you're using the gap analysis to solve or to create a solution, a lot of business analysts used to just let me just say, they just take their eyes, they just close their eyes from the organization. And you will know that even organization itself contributes a lot to the major problems that happens in every businesses. I want to tell us a story, but before I do that, let's just look at the McKinsey 7S model that can be useful in this in solving the organization aspects of the gap analysis. So let's do that now. So the first one, we have the 7S model that sets out for the organization that needs to be considered if a
Please give us a few more minutes to get him back on the call, please.
Okay, I'm back on the call. I'm very sorry, my network just timed out without,
All
before.
right, all right.
That network was sorry for that. Okay, can you see my screen back?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, please. I'm trying to. Okay, we're here. The McKinsey 7S model. So I said, you find out that the pulpit model that we mentioned, we've already covered some of the S in it. So we said the first S is the system. The second S is the staff and skills. So let me just say the system is analyzed from the three views of process, the information and technology. So we look at it from the process and the information and technology. So we have the staff. Permit me to highlight the S for you so that you can see them. The system, we said this, it includes the process and the information. So we have the staffs, it includes the skills, the staffs and skills. So form part of the people. I wish I can bring this to McKinsey and the pulpit, but don't worry, we can continue. So the skills, the staff and skills use the people view of the what of the pulpit model. So from the organization perspective, so we need to just think about the remaining four aspects: the shared values, the staff, strategy, as what and structure. So the shared values are the core of the organization. So in undertaking a gap analysis, we need to ask if these shared values, which is the art, when you see any diagram at the center of when you see anything at the center of any diagram, it means that is what holds the whole model together, like the IT that holds the whole pulpit together. So we said it's the shared or core values at the core of the organization. So in undertaking a gap analysis, we need to ask if these shared values are explicit and are communicated, and if they really help drive the other areas such as the system and structures. Moving to a new desired position may require to think about the manifestation of any inconsistent views in the existing business system and the impact values upon the work practices. Now, I want to give this little example of why the organization is always a major issues and why the shared values or core values needed to be communicated very, very well. I was in a meeting some times ago, and I'll put it was a leaders meeting in a church, so I was opportune to be there. So when I got there, for the Christians among us, whenever there's a leaders meeting like that, they have people that comes to talk to them, maybe just for like maybe 10, 15 minutes, just on leadership and stuff like that. So, and they started talking, what is the problem you are facing in your department? What's the problem you are facing in this department? What's the problem you are facing in this department? Then it was the turn of the technical and the media units to talk. The technical said the media is their problem. The media said the technical team is their problem. Okay, now what is the problem? The problem was that the church itself did not communicate what the job of the technical department was supposed to do and also did not communicate what was the job of the what of the media department to do. Who would think that switching off the television or the screens, the projector, before service or after service is the job of the media team? Who will ever think that? The media said it was the job of the technical team. The technical said no, it can never be the job of it is the media team that project on the something. They said, okay, no, this thing is technical. It is not the. So later, we have to break it down. They will not created a structure. We not started that. We not created a structured job description for the two of them. Last month, when I visited again, there was no problem. So can you say our organization can also get a business into problem? And a lot of business analysts used to what? Used to overlook this, which is not very good. So you can use the what? The shared, the Marquis's 7S to be able to what? To be able to solve the organization issue. But you know that the shared value is always what? Is always at the core of the organization. And it's really need to be communicated, whereby, okay, you this department, you this particular department, use this department, what are the things you do in common? What are the things that are your role? There are also some roles that are also looking alike, but you really need to see if those particular roles are what are well communicated. Let's move on, please. So let's look at the people. It is important that any business, sorry, let me clean this off my screen. Okay, so it is important that any business change proposal set out the approach to deployment that will be adopted, including planning for communication, the changes to any affected staff. You know, I gave an example the other time when we were talking about the organization. Whenever there's an upgrade or there's an update, the staff or the people that are working or that are in charge of that particular thing needs to be properly communicated about the changes on before it is being made. The analysis should consider the impact upon the people who will perform the work and identify any gaps to be what? To be addressed. You don't just come and say, today we are using this. What about if they don't know? What about if they are used to that particular method or way of handling things? So communication to the people or staff is also what? Very, very, very important. So let's look at some of the key areas in what? In communication to the people. Number one is the skills. Number two is recruitment. Number three is staff development. Number four is motivation and what? And reward. So let's look at the skills. So we need to think about what skills the new jobs roles require. How much support will be needed during the transition, and what training should be delivered to ensure the smooth implementation of the new business process. So you know that to be able to give those people a nice skill, you need to do one particular thing, is what? Train them. Before the new system is being implemented, you need to train them ahead. They need to get new to the new process flow, the information and the rules, new rules that need to apply in making decision for that particular rule that's been given to them. Talking about recruitment, if there's a skill gap, there may be a need for further recruitment of staff. You know that in every organization, people too really matters. Just imagine, let's come down to schools. where the schools are short of staff. Now, what does either the proprietor or the school organization or the organization does is that they go immediately, instead of recruiting somebody outside to come and fill in that position, what they do is that they pick one of the non-skilled workers, like the sweepers, uh, the toilet attendants, sometimes the secretaries. They just ask them to go and fill the position of a teacher. So every organization has to also look into their what? Into the kind of people that they employ. So if that skill gap is what is missing, it will affect the productivity of that organization. There may be a more significant gap in that there may not be a properly defined recruitment policy, and what an inadequate method may be used for recruitment. I mentioned that earlier. If any of this is the case, problem with the team's skills may result and the business changes may be undermined. So it is important to consider staff recruitment policy as part of the gap analysis activity. They may cause problems during the deployment if you need to change or extend the skills of the team. But in the long term, may also serve to perpetuate recruitment issues. Let's look at staff development. One of the gaps concerned is the approach adopted to career development. It is important to think about questions such as, is there an appraisal scheme in place? And if so, does this appraise the right things and lead to effective skill development? Sometimes it is very useful to think about how the current personal development process are working, as they may be the root cause of some problems. If so, they are likely to interfere with the success of the introduction that's been made or introduced. So let's quickly move to motivation and reward. I know a lot of staffs like this. Tell a staff or the people working in your organization you are doing well, they will give extra effort to whatever they are doing. But tell a staff that you guys are not doing well, you don't even know anything, we don't even, you're not even useful. What is your problem? Then you have a decline in the success rate of your people. So you need to consider the level of your staff motivation. It's very, very important. And more tangibly, the reward system in place. There may be issue here that can be causing problems and undermine the performance of the organization. For example, if there's a problem with staff motivation, the introduction of new suits or processes and systems may worsen. So the element of reward system with the objectives of the organization is vital if changes to succeed. So you need to understand that when you give an appraisal to your staffs or the people that work in the organization, you will get more output, even if they are not working in that particular area of their job description. They will give in their best to be able to achieve that particular thing because they know that they are going to be rewarded, or they have been rewarded, or their efforts are being appreciated. So motivation and reward is also very, 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 very important. So let's look at the formulating of the options. So once we have an understanding of the gaps to be addressed, we can begin to formulate the options for change. Yes, once the idea of what you want to do has been gotten, so you know which options do you want for the change. So in all business changes, we need to ensure that any proposal are feasible from the financial, business, and technological perspective. So it's of no use putting forward proposal that change one or two elements of the pulpit model while not considering the others. The best IT system in the world will not operate effectively if the people do not know how to use them or cannot access them. Just take that. So it is also not possible to change a team structure without considering the impact on the individual, ensuring that they are clear about the new way of working. So all this pulpit model is very important. We also said not only that you want to use the pulpit model, consider the other alternatives to ensure that the pulpit model you are putting into place, they are very effective. So let's look at defining business requirements. So the outcome from the gap analysis is a list of business requirements that need to be delivered. So these requirements are likely to be at the what level rather than dictating the precise way in which they will be met. However, at this point, there are likely to be some requirements that will need to form part of the IT solutions. I will need to be a little bit more faster here. So let's talk about introduction to business architecture. Yes. So organizations are becoming increasingly aware of the need to hold a formal definition of the architecture of their business. So any proposed business change must align with the business architecture. So it is common for even small changes to affect multiple processes. IT system and database requiring vast expenses, often without the change adding any value, causing disruption to areas of the business that were working well. So in many cases, this is because business analysts usually work in one designated area and do not always have the opportunity to see how the change they propose fits within the broader picture of whether work being undertaken elsewhere may impact upon their work. Permit me to quickly take you to business architecture technique. There's a wide range of techniques that can be employed when defining the business architecture. So these techniques vary from those that focus on the bigger picture of the business architecture, such as business model definition, business motivation analysis, and capability modeling. So through to more detailed techniques, such as the value stream analysis. The two key techniques from the list that from the essence of an effective business are what? Business capacity modeling and what? Value stream analysis. Let me first talk about the business capacity modeling. I just said a capability is a particular ability to achieve an outcome and reflect something a business is able to do that creates value for a customer. So the main strata found on typical business capability model will be number one, strategic or direction setting, core or customer facing, then supporting. Let me quickly move to the value stream analysis. There are many techniques that can be used to investigate and represent the delivery of value. So note this. A value stream is an end-to-end collection of high-level linear stages that creates an outcome of value to a particular customer group. So they focus on the delivery of value and they may not reflect the way the work is done in practice. So the value stream shows the main consequential stages which add value to the customer. So example of the value stream for mortgage applications is like this. So from initial inquiry, that's the support, to mortgage application, that's the application, then to the assessment, then release of funds. Then fund is available to what? To the potential borrower. I'm very sure we are all aware about this particular model because that's what happened when you want to collect your loan, either from there was this one that was trending, the Pampe. Yes, if you collect Pampe money, you return Pampe money, whether by fire or by force. So let's quickly move to the full summary. So gap analysis is considered with identifying the differences between the current business situation and the desired future business systems. So don't forget that when you are analyzing the gap, we need to take a holistic view. Don't be constrained. Consider elements such as the business processes and people in addition to the process and IT system, that is the puppet. It is important that any proposed changes are aligned with the business architecture. So the overall goal of the business architecture is to enable an organization to focus on the product and the services it delivers to its customers and the value this customer receive. Hence, any business architecture needs to reflect a high level of abstraction, considering what the business needs to do to deliver value to its customer rather than how, who, or where this value is delivered. So techniques such as business capability modeling and value stream analysis may be used to represent such an abstraction. I think with this few point of mine, I hope I've been able to communicate how solution is being defined using gap analysis. I don't know. Should we take question now, or should we take question now, or we should move to the next stage quickly? Then we'll take all the questions together. Over to you, Ma. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was saying, should we take the question now, or we should move to the next? Please take the question later.
Okay, let's move to the next and then we'll take the question later.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on. Or probably they can start dropping their questions. Is that okay?
Yes, that works.
Okay,
that
you can
works
just
too.
address that so that
Yes.
address that so that we just move into the next phase using the tool for today. Okay, now I want to talk about the tool we're going to be using for today. We've learned a lot of tools in the past, and I'm very sure some of us have been using them for some of our analytics. And I will be dealing with the very basic fundamentals of it. And if you need any further help or you need further assistance, I would like to tell the organizers that you can get across to them. They will get across to me. I'll make probably a very concise video available for you for this training, and or probably send more materials to be able to assist you further in learning how to use the true tool. So today we'll be talking about Figma. Talking about Figma. I'm very sure that all of us, in one time or the other, we've been able to learn how you can collaborate some of the design tools, how you can build meaningful products, how you can design seamlessly, how you can make a prototype, how you can develop, how you can collect feedback, you know, how you can use filters, how you can develop products such as websites, you know, not probably write the code, how you can be a UI UX developer. Let me just put that in a nutshell. Because when you're using Figma, we categorize you as a UI UX developer. So quickly, in the next 6-7 minutes, I'll be walking us through how to use a Figma, and I might not be, because of the time frame that I have, I might not be able to really um develop or let's say have a complete project for you. But in case you need any help, but I'll tell you one thing that you can do in case you're able to get more access to some of the templates that are always available. So permit me to share my screen again. The first step in using a Figma, sorry, trying to share my screen. Please let me know when you see my screen. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So basically, Figma helps you to represent designs. It helps you to have something like a prototype of any type of. So if you are working with um, um, developers, or you are into branding, or you are working with a brand, or you are trying to make sure you have a prototype of something. So with Figma, it's very easy for you to have the 100% look, feel, and the way it's going to be represented. Now, every organization, before they start their development phase, the first thing that they do is that they go through the UI UX development phase. So now, to start using Figma, you don't need any special skills. You don't need any special design skills. You don't even have to know how to draw anything. You don't need to know how to do anything. All you need to do is on it. So now, the first step is you go to figma.com. Let me put it on the chat section, figma.com. Let me put it there. Thank you very much. www.figma.com. Thank you very much, Edith, for that. So the next thing is to get started. Click on get started. When you click on get started, I did a summary here. Let me pull it up for you. Sorry. So when you click on get started, so it's loading. Okay, so you need to register. So once you register, let me just give me 1 more second to pull up this thing. Sorry, I'm trying to make the registration process very easy for you. Okay, no bother. So let's just click on get started for free. Then you click on the email you can decide to open with your Gmail. So let me do that. After doing that, I'm using my Gmail, for example. So it will ask me to confirm if I really want to use or allow Figma to access my Gmail account. So once that is done, it asks me some other questions, which is like, are you a part of an organization? Are you really? Put in your name and some of your details. Once you are done with that, I don't know why my system is doing like this. Can you see my screen? I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Make sure that this can't be pictures. Okay, you can complete this on your own. So after you are done with this, then you will be logged on to the Figma home page. 1 seconds. Okay. Please, I'm very sorry. I don't know why my screen is not showing you. Can you see my new screen now? Okay, thank you. So I think with this, I'll be able to quickly round everything up. So now, what I need you to do is this. Number one, once you are done with the nitty-gritty of signing up, don't worry, it's very free. It's one of the free tool for designers or those that want to make a prototype. So what that you need to do now is that you need to click on new design file. Can you see it there? Click on new design file. You don't need to do any setup. You don't need to do anything. Don't forget, during the what's it called? During the sign up, you are going to be asked if you like to collaborate. You might decide to skip that and just say no because you don't need to collaborate. But if you are working with a team, just click on collaborate and add their emails, and they'll be able to make adjustments on any other thing. Like now, if you're working for an organization, you click on the sorry, I'm really finding it very difficult to use this. Okay. So let me just show that for those, because I'm doing this for those that don't know Figma. New share. So thank you. I'm sharing a new screen now. Good. So once you sign up, it takes you to what is your name. After doing that, you can come here. You can decide to what kind of work do you do. You mention it, or you click on other there, or you skip. The next thing is, do you have anything? Just you can decide to skip all this. Skip all this. Do you want to invite somebody as collaborators? You can decide to skip. Then you want to bring what brings you to Figma, decide to skip and everything. Then here is what I'm really concerned about. Click on starter, don't click on professional, because if you click on professional, you have to pay in dollars. But if you are working on a very larger project that they will pay you big or small or something, you can decide to use the professional so that you can have access to different tools that Figma has. So now is what we like to do first. So you click on design with Figma, click on the design with Figma, then you have your interface. You have your interface. So now let me go back to my interface. Let's start a new design. So you click on a new design. So I also send that with some of the material I'm going to be sending for this. So click on new design. So now look at it. This is where all the designs that you see occurs. So the first thing that you need to do is that you need to first create a frame. Let me repeat that. Before you start anything, you need to first create a frame. And how do you do that? Please, can you see my screen? Please confirm if you can see my
Yes,
screen.
sir.
Yes, okay, thank you. So look at this. You have this. This shows that you can use it to move to anywhere. This particular table-like, or you can call it wireframe, is a frame. This is shape. This is a pen, and this is a text, and this is resources. We'll talk about that. And this is also called hand tool, or we'll call it pan tool. Then this is what, if you want to add comment to that particular design, don't forget that you are collaborating or collaborating with people. Please just give me like 2 more minutes. I'll round up this particular section. So now, the first step that I said is that you need to create a what? You need to create a frame. So you come here, click on this drop down, select frame. When you create a frame, which kind of frame do you want to create? Are you creating a desktop application, or are you creating a desktop application? Or you are creating a tablet, or you are creating a phone? So under the phone, you can decide to look at the iPhone. You can, so once you click on iPhone 11 and 15, so it will automatically create the frame. Can you see the frame size here? So I can go back there. I can say I want desktop now. Click on desktop. I say I want MacBook, but basically you can say desktop. Desktop will be created along the line. When you are creating again, you can say, okay, I don't want Mac 11 Pro or Mac something. I want maybe Android. We have basically 2 types of Android. We have the small and the large. So you can say, okay, I want Android small. Once you click that, it automatically creates the frame. So with this, you can be able to select which of the designs interface that want to be needed. Now, I want to create a very simple website, which we have the header, add image, and some other things. But I'll just show you the way to do it. So if you want to further learn more about this, you can reach out to the administrators. I would give out a resources, or probably add it to the resources I'm going to send for this particular training, and it will be able to guide you hand on how to use Figma. But for this, I've shown you that the first thing that you need to do is to create a new project. After that, you can add your frames that you want to work on. If you want to create a project for iPhone, I already showed you that you go and create what? A frame. Then you come to your right side here, then you click on which of the devices you want to create for tablets. You also do that. You create for tablets. If you want to create different pages, what you just need to do is that you click on that particular frame. If it's iPhone 14, just keep on adding it, then you just rename it as what? As you can rename it as whatever you want to rename it. So now let me just show you some of the tools that are being used. Now look at this left side of my screen. Can you see? So I have a lot of things there. I have the Material 3D design kit. I have the simple design system. I have the iOS 18. I have layers. I have assets. Your layers are all these that we place there. The first one, can you see? The last one that we added, the Android small. The second one, the desktop, and the first one was what? iPhone 11 Pro Max. So if you want to edit the name, you just come here and just say iPhone Home and click on enter. What I did was to double click on it. So can you see? I'm able to do what? To be able to. So now where I'm going especially is the assets. So assets. So you come to this iOS 18 and iPad OS. That is where all the tools that you really need is. coming. So if you expand it up, you'll be able to see which of the, like now these action sheets, if you are used to what's it called? If you are used to iOS very well, you understand that this is what? This is an option. I'm trying to expand so you can see very well. Sorry. Okay, I'm taking it off. Let me re-add it again. So you notice that this is an option for what's it called? An option on iOS. So now let me just quickly create a simple website and let us see how it's going to look. Don't forget, I said this is a simple shape, right? I have my rectangle, I have my line, I have my arrow, I have my, so let's draw up a rectangle. So just come here, click on rectangle, or you press R. So I draw it here. So don't forget that in simple websites, the height is always very, 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 very long. So what I will do here is that, sorry. Sorry, permit me to hold this. So what I will do here is that the height, I'm going to increase the height for the desktop. So don't forget, I came to layers and I chose the desktop so that I'll be able to highlight it. Then I will change it to the height now, which is 1,400 will be changed to what? Maybe 1,300. So it will increase the height. So here I can decide to add more rectangle. So I add it to the footer. Then I can change the color. I click here, then I come to this design side here. This design side here. You can see my fill here. Can you see my fill? Just click on it. You can change it to whatever color you want to change. If you don't want to use this color, you want to use a gradient color, what do you need to do? Is just click on this particular next one and choose gradient. It will tell you, okay, from what color to what color. I want to change from green to red. So double click on it. Then look at the color downstairs, the stops. Then I'll change it to green. Then I'll pick my green color. Then look at the outcome now. If I want to add an image to this particular rectangle that I just created, what I just need to do is click on this fill that I created. Then by the side of the gradient, you will see what? An image. Click on it. It's an image. Just click on choose image. Then go to wherever your images are on your system, then add it to it. Then you'll be able to add your image. Don't forget that I won't be able to go into more of this, but I just wanted to show you how they are being done. Then another thing you can do is to add text. So you can decide to add text. The text is here. Can you see it? So click on it, then double click. So let's start typing. So welcome to my first class. So here I'm going to highlight it. Then if you scroll down here by the right, you'll be able to see the font size, then increase it to whatever you want to. Thank God that I increased it because I just wrote nonsense. So welcome to my first class. Then you can change the text field. That is the font style. So can you see? Let's look for something very nice. Sorry. So let's look for something very nice. So I'll use this. So I'll increase the font again. So to something very, so I can decide to change the height of the line height. This is the line height here. Can you see it here? Sorry. So you can decide to change the vertical alignment here. So, and so on and so forth. So this is a simple way to be able to use then you can add your image to this again. So come to fill, instead of adding, just click on the image icon, click on the choose, and I'm going to use this. So that is it. So these are, then once you are done, then you click on share. So once you click on share, you click on whether you want to share to somebody, or you want to click on embed code, or you can even generate the code here. Are you getting me? You can switch to a dev mode if you are working with a developer. Now, let me just quickly show you another better methods that can help you to be able to use some of your designs, and they will not even take you to designing your own personal own. What you need to do is to go to explore community. Please look at this downside of the my browser here. You see explore community. Once you click on explore community, it will take you to where all the templates, all the plugins and everything, icon sets are. So now, what I want to do is I want to create a fintech mobile app. What I'll just do is I'll just say fintech, then click on enter. Then my screen will load all the designs that are available for what? You can say loan. Can you see? Fintech mobile app. You can decide to say fintech mobile dashboard. You can decide to say, so your own job is what to what? Pick it and double click on it. Don't forget that it says open in Figma. Don't forget that once you do all these things, it is good if you use it for free, but you are using it for larger organizations, or they are paying you very well. It's better you go for the what? For the paid version, so that you're able to have access to more tools. So now, with the idea of the tools users have been able to give you, you can be able to customize this to whatever you want to use it for. So now, you can decide to change this Hello Smith now. This Hello Smith, click on test and click on the Hello Smith. If not, you can zoom it out. Can you see? Just try and zoom it out. Then click on Hello Sandra and change it to hello. Let's edit it out. So hello Sandra. So I don't know, probably because I'm not able to zoom because of my screen. Okay, good. So just look at this left side. Can you see my left side here? You see the hello Sandra there. Just click on it and just say hello. I'll call it alarm. So once you say hello alarm and click enter, it will automatically update it in the screen. I'm trying to see why it's not sharing. Why it's not updating? Probably because I'm using, like, I think it's my network. So if you do that, it will automatically update it in the what? In the screen. Once you click on, like now this Adeleke Raymond, you go to layers, then you go and pick, you go to layers, then you pick on this, then you pick on the Adeleke Raymond. Adeleke Raymond, sorry, it's my network. So you click on the Adeleke Raymond, you'll be able to see the Adeleke Raymond. So you click on Adeleke Raymond here, then you change it to alarm. Then it will automatically change by itself. It's my network that's making it not to update immediately. So with these few steps of mine, I think you've been able to see how, and it's not only limited to websites, it's not limited to app, it's not limited. You can do anything. If you need any idea as either a graphic designer, a website designer or anything, the first thing you need to do first is that you log up to Figma. Then, if you don't want to start from scratch, go to back to files, go to your Explore community, go and type whatever ideas you want to do. Like now, you want something like Jumia. Jumia is marketplace. You just say marketplace. Then you click on enter. So it will bring out all the designs that looks like a marketplace. I think with this few points of mine, I think I've been able to explain how Figma works in a very fundamental way. And I hope for those people that are using it for the first time, I hope I've not been able to confuse them. Thank you very much. And we can quickly ask questions. Then, okay, Richard said we should add Figma materials to the resource you sent. Okay, I'll try and do that. Okay, this person, Lawa, I'm trying to see. Are you having any issue? Let me know what issue are you having, Lawa. You can state it out in the so it says Figma has similar feature with Canva. Yes, Canva is basically for designs, but Figma is used for prototype making. Do you get? Canva is basically for designs. Figma is for prototype. You cannot use Figma for design. Don't forget, it's just for prototype. It's just for prototype. And don't forget, you can export this to code. In Canva, you cannot export your design to code. That's for Sylvia Chukuma. So, okay, somebody said just looking. Okay, okay. Over to you, Ma. So, any questions? I think those who are here have been able to answer them. And I think that's all from my side. Somebody said mine is rolling. Please, I think it's your internet or something. Okay, Ma, Mrs. Edit.
Yeah, I think yes, it should be your network. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so very much, Ayola, in class. The way you deliver these classes. This is your second time joining us in class. It's all very, very understandable. So thank you for your time with us in class today. Let's put a round of applause in the chat room as we appreciate him. Okay, I see people doing that already. Thank you very much. So this is basically a fundamental class on how to use Figma. And if you wish to learn in details how to use Figma, kindly reach out to us and we will connect you to Ayola. And of course, terms and conditions would apply. All right. So yeah, that will be, we've come to the end of today's class. It has been a wonderful time having you all in class today, and I hope you got value for your time. So we see you again next weekend, same time, and presenters will say same station, do not turn that dial. All right, so do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay happy and stay blessed, and bye-bye. Yes, the materials will be shared with everybody in the WhatsApp platform. So do not worry about that. We'll have you get the materials.